Alright everybody, today is the day. Did not expect it to be today, but it is today. I wound up ordering a new tank. It's not the one I expected. I've had a huge runaround. It is indeed Black Friday, and I was out in traffic for 2 hours for no reason at all, only to come home and order one online, and I have to go pick it up later, and I gotta get it today. So I am in a mad panic to get this end of my fish room torn down. The 20 long open top is pretty much done. I'm just draining the water at this point. When I get the water out of it, and the heater has cooled down a little bit, it was actually on a moment ago, so I'm going to let that cool down. That's it. I got to drain it, and I'm going to move it. Once I've removed it, I've got to go ahead and take this stand down. This piece right here is separate from what's holding this tank up, so all I've got to do is from this leg over will have to come out for now, and then I got to start working on breaking down the Brackish tank and getting that done. And then unfortunately I was not able to get the tank I wanted. I wound up getting a 6-foot tank, so that means I'm going to have to move this somehow as well and get this flat against the wall rather than at this angle that I've got it now. And by putting it flat against the wall, I'll be able to put that 6-foot tank in line with this line here, and then the 6-foot length tank will still go out about almost as far as where the end of my Brackish tank is now. So step back here a moment. Everything's a shambles because I'm trying to get this done like now. So this will be no more curvature. This will just be a flat, wall down to the end of this tank, and then from here over will be one tank. It's the same as that tank there. So we're going to have another one of these 6-foot 125 gallon tanks, and that is going to be down here at this end of the room and will be a native tank when I get around to doing that. So let me get back on this. I just wanted to give you a little quick update. I'll shoot what video I can today while I'm in the process of doing this, but don't expect too much more. Hopefully the next video you're going to see is me trying to figure out how the hell to set a big 6-foot tank up down here on this end of the room. Alright everybody, we are well underway. I've got the 20 long actually moved completely out of the way. We've got this end broken down and taken apart already. You can see that is the actual piece that the 20 long sat on. And if you come around here and look in the back, you'll see these 3 main planks. These run all the way down the length, and that's what gives us that overall width of these 55s. The problem I run into is the 55s are narrower tanks than this 40 breeder, which is 18 inches wide. So fortunately I've removed the hang on the back filter, and we now have these 2 hoses that run into the back. So what I should be able to do is simply slide this way against the wall, and then I can get underneath of here, and we'll come around here and have a little bit of a look underneath as best we can. Remember, these 3 pieces run the length of it, so when we get under here we can see those same 3 pieces still run all the way down the length. All I really need to do is, this one sticks out a little too far, but I don't want to knock it out while the tank is on top of it, so I'm gonna move the tank. This one's not really attached, it's just sitting there. Once the tank is moved, I can take this one, put it up here a little further back, and actually create support, and then I can simply remove this one altogether. There'll be 2, like this crossbar here and this one here, will have to get just sort of cut off at the front, and it won't look all that attractive, but I will hang a skirt back up, something similar to this but a little better, and you won't even be able to see it. So that should make the tank flush right down the length of the wall with my 255s, and then flush this way will be my new 6-foot tank. If you can hear Squeaker, he wants something. He probably wants to go outside. So I need to actually move this tank once the water gets a little lower. I need to drain it as much as I possibly can, and that's going to be a little nerve-wracking, but I'm going to wait until after I've moved it before I actually discuss why I'm so worried about doing it. That'll be the next segment because we're getting about ready to move it. So sit tight, and I'll see you in a little while. Alright everybody, I'm still a little out of breath from doing that, but I wanted to start videoing again right away because I wanted you to see how low I actually drained the water before we started filling it back up again. So I don't have any really big fish in here. The black ghost knifefish, he lives on his side in that little tiny cave. so it's no big deal. This gives you an idea what my inside of my tank looks like when there's no water or anything else flowing around in there. So it's quite a bit of room. So with this 18-inch depth, that's one of the things that makes this tank so interesting. It allows for the back and forth type motion of swimming, and that's what this 6-foot tank we're going to be installing here later tonight is going to do as well. It's going to be the same size as my 125. I believe I got a 120 gallon though, so the height is slightly different. I'm not sure what I actually got. It's been a hectic day. Like I said, I ordered it online, and it was not my first choice. So again, hectic day. We'll get into that later. The reason I was so worried about moving the tank was the thing that breaks the seal in a tank is twisting it, buckling it, sliding it. Anything like that that twists and puts pressure, lateral pressure on those seams is a good way to crack a seal and slowly drain one of your tanks. I've done it before. Early on, I had a little 10 gallon. I had some puffers. My very first puffers were Malabar Dwarf Pea puffers, the little freshwater guys, and I had them in a 10 gallon tank. And I tried to move it, but the dresser it was sitting on, like the sort of shellacky finish, I guess it got sort of stuck to it, and I had to give it a little bump with the heel of my hand to get it sliding. And I did that, and I slid the tank, and everything was fine. I did it while it was full. It was only 10 gallons. And I came down the next morning and I had 10 gallons of water all over the floor down here, and I had 2 dead puffers and a few other dead fish in the tank. So that was my first real lesson in not doing anything to break the seal in a fish tank. So that's why I was nervous about doing what I just did. I did my best to lift it and take as much pressure as possible off as I slid it sideways, but I kind of had to just sort of push along. You know, I put the heel of my hand along the bottom here and did my best to just sort of slide while I was lifting a little. And the wooden surface is nice and smooth, so it slid over there without any real issue. I'm not terribly concerned about the seal being broken, but I will certainly check when I go to... Ooh, stepping on the light bulb. Glad I didn't do that. So we didn't quite get it in there exact, but we are still within that first 3 pieces of wood. So my next step is going to be getting in here and removing a couple of things. Like I said before, I've got to remove this, put it under there, and then once I've done that, I can just take these down, and then I will have this little piece. I'll just have to cut it off right here, and then this little piece I'll just have to take a handsaw and cut it off right there, and I'll be done. And this whole front section will be finished. And then what we will have is another 6-foot tank just like this one with the ensemble. You know, it'll have the stand and everything underneath of it, so I won't have to worry about building anything else, and that will be right down here. So let me keep moving forward. The next step is going to be to break that little bit of wood down. That won't be any big deal. And then the challenge is going to be to get over there and get Butterbean's tank broken down. And by the way, this is all the stuff that I pulled out of the 20 long, so we'll have a look at that over the next couple of days too. I'll pull that stuff out and separate it out, and we can look at all the rocks and woodwork and everything that was in there. So sit tight, and we'll see where this video ends up. Alright everybody, we are finished emptying Butterbean's tank, and with the flash on, I wanted to show you what that stuff looks like with the water drained out of the tank, so be prepared to get grossed out. Look at that. Oh, is that not disgusting or what? And of course, without being able to let you smell this, you really don't get an idea of how disgusting that really is. I did my best not to disturb it. I just drained the water right here into a bucket, and while it was draining, I took my pitcher right here and just kept running back and forth to the bathroom, dumping out pitchers so it could continually drain into the bucket. And you can kind of tell I propped up one end so all the water would run down more or less to this end. Getting Butterbean out was not nearly as challenging as I thought. The gobies were a piece of cake. I knew that was going to be the case. So he is in his new home now, and he's resting quietly. It was a little traumatic for him. What I finally wound up using was this. Some of you may recognize this as the little clear piece of plastic that your new GoPro camera comes in. I always knew I'd use it for something someday. So this was what I used to catch butterbean in. I used this in a net, and I wound up catching him in the net, but then I sort of used this to scoop into the net, and once he was in this, I was able to lift him up out of the water, and I was able to actually carry him over here with surprisingly little of the original tank water. He never puffed up, and once I released him in there, I turned the light out and I covered it up, and he was down in the bottom, hunkering down and looking fine. So on to the next step. I got to get my little 10-gallon tank down there drained. I got to get the quarry that's in there out, and then get all this moved out of the way and just broken down, and then I'll have room. My new ensemble will go in right here once I get all this crap out of the way. So sit tight, let me keep moving. Alright, there's my Black Ghost knife fish tank, all full of water again. You can see all the bubbles on the glass. I'm finally ready to go. I've got this whole area cleaned out. The floor is as clean as I'm worried about getting it. This is going to be where the ensemble sits, and this whole end of the room is going to have a nice big fish tank in it very soon. I've actually cleared the path, and as messy as everything is, we've actually got room to get everything in and ready to go. So the next step will be getting a new fish tank in here. Alright everybody, I'll see you in a little while. Alright, here we are the following morning. It's now Saturday morning, and she's in and done. I don't have the filter on or anything like that. By the time I wound up getting the tank picked up and home, and my buddy helped me get it in here and up on the stand, I didn't even start filling it until 9 o'clock last night. So I basically just made sure it got filled. I waited about another hour after it was filled. I checked, I looked at all the seams. They all seem okay. I didn't see any moisture or anything. And then the only thing to do was wait overnight and make sure everything looked okay in the morning. So far everything looks fine. My Black Ghost knife fish tank is fine. There's no leaks, no drips, no water underneath. I've checked underneath with a flashlight and looked at all the woodwork. So we're not leaking any water out of the Black Ghost knife fish, so I'm not worried about the little adjustment I made yesterday. Apparently didn't have any impact on it. So there you go. That's what it looks like in its raw form. That is full of water. You can see the bubbles there sort of to the left side haven't fully gone away yet. Last night it was completely full of bubbles, as new tanks usually are when you first fill them. So this afternoon I'm going to be off to the Wily World. I'm going to pick up some odds and ends. I need to get some gravel for the bottom. I need to get some egg crate plastic. I want to get better lighting. The lighting that comes with it is kind of a joke. So we're going to get some real lighting for the top of it. We are also going to get some drape cloth to hang over top of it. You know, I like to put the cloth over top of my tank so you don't get all the glare from the light. And I'm going to get some cloth for the backing. So that'll be later in a different video. This one's long enough already. I just wanted to show you that we've got it. It's in, it's up, and now the process of putting it together is going to begin. We're going to start stocking it. We're going to start going and doing a little bit more outdoor stuff, trying to find some good rock work. I'm going to try to find some good woodwork, and we're going to shoot lots of videos of all of that coming up. So make sure you're subscribed. That way you won't miss any of this stuff. This tank is going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a lot of interest, so make sure you don't miss any of it. So thanks again for watching all this. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you real soon on the next one.